You ever know someone, or maybe this is you, who just seems like a walking contradiction? They're absolutely brilliant, so driven, but they're also their own worst critic, constantly getting stuck in the weeds. Well, today we're diving into one of the most powerful and, paradoxical personality types out there.
It's this really specific feeling, right? You've got these amazing ideas and you have all the energy in the world to make them happen, but something holds you back. It's this nagging fear that it won't be perfect. Part of you wants to just charge ahead, while another part needs to analyze every single detail until it's completely flawless.
If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. That internal push and pull, that tug of war in your head, it actually has a name. It's the classic inner conflict of the choleric melancholic temperament, a personality structure that smashes together intense ambition with this really profound idealism.
Okay, so let's get into it. To really understand what's going on here, we have to look at the two powerful and often clashing forces at play. The easiest way to think about it is this. The choleric is fire, and the melancholic is earth. So on one side, you have that choleric fire. Their reaction to anything is immediate, it's energetic. Their whole reason for being is action, getting things done. But then you have the melancholic earth. Their reaction is way slower, but man, it is deep and it lasts. Their entire world revolves around the idea, the perfect ideal version of how things are supposed to be. And what's so fascinating is that pretty much nobody is a pure temperament. We're not in these rigid little boxes, we're all a blend. And as you can see, the choleric and melancholic are right next to each other on the spectrum. And it's that proximity that creates these really intense combinations we're about to unpack. So what happens when you actually mix that choleric fire with the melancholic earth? Well, it turns out it really depends on which one is in the driver's seat. And that leads to two very different, very distinct variations of this blend. First up, if that choleric fire is dominant, you get what we call the strategist. This person is all about results, period. They use that melancholic eye for detail not because they love perfection for its own sake, but because it helps them build an absolutely bulletproof plan of attack. We're talking master generals, top-tier CEOs, world-class surgeons. And let me tell you, this blend can be, well, intense. One source calls them the most efficient and ruthless of all the blends. Think about it. Their melancholic side can spot the tiniest flaw in an argument or a person's logic. And their choleric side has absolutely no problem hammering that weak point to win.
But if the melancholic earth is dominant, you get a totally different person, the trainer. This person is driven by their vision of a perfect world. They look around, see what's broken or inefficient, and they feel this deep, driving need to fix it. The choleric fire gives them the force and the leadership to actually make their vision happen, which is why they're often natural-born reformers and teachers. So, with these two powerful forces, fire and earth, just churning away inside, what really motivates this person? And maybe more importantly, what causes them the most pain? Let's take a look inside their mind.
At their core, it's all about this profound idealism. There is a burning need for things to be orderly, to be perfect, to be meaningful. It's like they're carrying around an internal blueprint of how the world should be, and they feel this immense pressure to make the messy, chaotic real world match that perfect vision.
And this quote just brilliantly nails their central conflict. You've got the choleric part of them screaming, act, go, do something now. But then that melancholic voice whispers, hang on, what if it's not perfect? They're literally afraid to act because any action you take in the real world is, by definition, going to fall short of the flawless idea in their mind. And you know where this leads, right? It's that classic vicious cycle we call analysis paralysis. It starts with a brilliant, perfect idea, but then their analytical mind kicks into overdrive, spotting every single thing that could possibly go wrong. And that fear of doing it imperfectly becomes so big, so overwhelming, that they just get stuck, frozen in thought.
So the crucial takeaway here is that their biggest struggle isn't with some external enemy, it's with themselves. Their deepest, most terrifying fears are being criticized, making a mistake, or worst of all, failing to live up to the impossibly high standards they've set for themselves.
So if this is your temperament, this incredibly capable but conflicted mix, are you just doomed to a life of frustration? Absolutely not. And that brings us to, honestly, the most important part of all of this. How can this powerful combination find balance and truly, truly thrive? See, here's the thing you have to get. The difference between temperament and character. Your temperament, that's the raw material. It's your biological wiring. It's what you're born with. You can't really change it. But your character? That's what you build with that raw material, through conscious choices and the practice of virtues. And this table maps out the path forward just beautifully. For that choleric drive, which can easily tip over into pride and anger, the balancing virtue is humility. And for that deep melancholic side, which can curdle into pessimism and fear, the counterbalance is audacity. Now, for a choleric, humility is not about being weak or being a doormat. No way, it's the exact opposite. It's having the strength to control that immense drive, to actually listen to other people, and to use their power to serve, not just to steamroll their way to a goal.
And for the melancholic part, the secret weapon is audacity. And again, this isn't about being reckless. It is the specific kind of courage that lets them act despite the risk of imperfection. It's the courage to say, you know what? This might not be perfect, but it's important, and it needs to exist in the world. It's the force that shatters analysis paralysis.
This quote just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Virtue is the great compensator. When a choleric melancholic practices humility, they start to really care about the people their plans impact. And when they practice audacity, they finally get into action. It's the path from being a paradox to being a truly great, balanced, and effective character. Ultimately, understanding your temperament isn't an excuse for your behavior. It's an instruction manual. It shows you where your greatest strengths are, and it points directly to your biggest challenges. So the real question is, knowing the raw material you've been given, what will you choose to build?